Over $1 trillion in Q1, Maya. The mega deal is officially back.
Oh, please. Look at the actual volume. Deal count just hit a 10-year low. It's a complete desert out there unless you're writing a $20 billion check.
Right, like McCormick and Unilever Foods, which creates a $20 billion condiment empire, by the way.
I'm still trying to comprehend the sheer tonnage of mayonnaise involved in this transaction.
It's a terrifying amount of mayo. But are regulators actually going to let them corner the global flavor market? The rundown. Look, you can't argue with $1 trillion. First quarter global M&A is up 35%. Boardrooms are completely ignoring the geopolitical mess right now. Iran is dominating the front pages, but deal makers are stubbornly pushing forward.
I'll absolutely argue with it, Nate. Did you look at the actual deal volume? The total number of transactions just cratered to its lowest level since 2015.
Sure, but the total value
Is being propped up by a handful of massive mega deals. The middle market is a ghost town right now.
Okay, fair, but when the mega deals are this big, they pull the whole ecosystem up. Look at software. $170 billion in February alone. Every board is terrified of losing the AI arms race.
Terrified is the right word. Half of those software premiums look like pure panic buying to me. I read the footnotes on a few of those February deals, and the projected synergies are pure fantasy.
Spoken like a true skeptic. But you have to admit the data center land grab is real. Primoris just dropped $422 million in cold hard cash for PayneCrest Electric.
And Digital Bridge teamed up with Jexi to carve out NEC's data center assets.
Exactly. You want to power all that AI software, you need the hard assets. It's a classic picks and shovels play.
That one actually makes strategic sense, unlike Carlyle buying a majority stake in MAI Capital for over $2.8 billion.
Oh, come on. Wealth management is a great recurring revenue business.
Private equity rolling up RIAs is just a multiple arbitrage game, Nate. You know this. They're just stacking fees on fees.
You just hate a good exit strategy. Speaking of dragging things out, Worthington Steel finally crossed the minimum acceptance threshold for the Kluckner deal.
Barely. They have until April 14th on the extended period, but it looks like we might actually get North America's second largest steel service center after all.
Which brings us perfectly to the ultimate 2026 mega deal. Because if you thought steel consolidation was heavy, wait until you see what's happening in your spice rack.
A $20 billion flavor combination. McCormick and Unilever are creating an absolute monster, and I have major questions about the antitrust risk here. The big one. You look at the Q1 numbers and it makes absolutely no sense until you read the McCormick press release.
Over $1 trillion in deal value, up 35%, but the actual number of deals is sitting at a decade low. We haven't seen volume this dead since 2015.
Everyone is swinging for the fences. 2026 is officially the year of the mega deal. Boardrooms are ignoring the geopolitical risks and just writing massive checks, which brings us to the spice aisle.
I genuinely love this deal. McCormick and Unilever's food business are combining. They're creating a $20 billion global flavor cartel.
Cartel is exactly what the regulators are going to call it.
Oh, come on.
I'm serious. Look at the footprint. They're projecting combined 2025 revenues of roughly $20 billion. You don't merge the king of garlic powder with the king of mayonnaise without setting off antitrust alarms.
It's a brilliant strategic play. You have all this geopolitical anxiety right now. The Iran conflict is actively spooking global markets. Boardrooms are terrified of supply chain shocks. So what do? You buy scale? You build a fortress?
You buy a fortress at a massive premium when overall deal volume is flatlining. I read the footnotes on this, Nate. They're completely glossing over the integration costs just to print a big headline.
Typical banker hate.
You used to be a banker.
Exactly, which is why I know a beautiful pitch deck when I see one. The synergies here are completely logical.
Synergies is just a fancy word for firing middle managers in New Jersey.
Okay, fair. But strategically, Unilever has been trying to figure out what to do with its food division for years. McCormick gets a preeminent global distribution network overnight. Who actually loses here?
The consumer paying $14 for generic black pepper. But honestly, the real loser is anyone trying to do middle market deals. All the capital is getting sucked into these massive defensive tie-ups. It's the exact same thing happening in tech.
The software sector, MA Voices. So the analysts are officially calling 2026 the year of the mega deal. First quarter volume is up 35%, crossing the $1 trillion mark.
Yeah, but you have to read the second half of that same report. The actual number of deals plummeted. We are at the lowest deal count since 2015.
The total volume is what matters, though. $1 trillion means corporate boards are ignoring the geopolitical noise. Even with the conflict in Iran spooking the equities markets, these deal makers are stubbornly pushing forward.
I completely disagree. They are not ignoring the noise. They are just terrified of missing the AI boat. Look at the sector data. Software alone drove over $170 billion in February.
The AI arms race is forcing consolidation.
Sure, but it skews the math. When you have tech giants panic buying everything with the .ai domain, it makes the whole market look healthy. It is not broad corporate confidence. It is concentrated FOMO.
Spoken like a true skeptic, but it is not just software. Look at Carlyle taking a majority stake in MAI Capital. That values the firm at over $2.8 billion. Or Neapco buying IFA Group to build a $2 billion driveline powerhouse.
Driveline systems, truly the sexiest sector.
Hey, auto parts need love too. My point is, the mega deal fever is spreading to the old economy.
I will give you that, especially when you look at what is happening in the grocery aisle.
Oh, you mean the $20 billion elephant in the room?
Exactly. McCormick and Unilever combining their food businesses is the absolute definition of a mega deal.
A preeminent global flavor leader? You just know a junior banker spent 70 hours workshopping that exact phrase?
Oh, absolutely. But throwing around projected revenues of $20 billion is going to put a massive target on their backs.
Which means we need to talk about regulatory pushback. Are the antitrust folks going to choke on all that flavor? Spill the tea. I'm just amazed at the sheer stubbornness of these boardrooms right now. You have mounting geopolitical anxiety. The Iran situation is spooking the global markets, and bankers are basically putting their fingers in their ears and screaming mega deal.
Well, they're certainly getting them across the finish line. Q1 global M&A just passed $1 trillion. That's a 35% surge. But here's the catch. The actual number of deals? Lowest we've seen since 2015.
Classic barbell market. Nobody wants to do a $200 million bolt-on when you can swing for the fences. It's the AI arms race, Maya. Software drove over $170 billion in February alone. Every tech CEO is terrified of being left behind, so they're just buying everything in sight.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. Software gets the headlines, sure, but look at where the cash is actually moving. It's not all AI. Primoris just dropped $422 million in cold hard cash for PayneCrest Electric. Neapco is buying IFA Group to build a $2 billion driveline powerhouse. It's heavy industry. It's infrastructure.
Fine, but driveline systems don't exactly make for sexy cocktail party gossip.
Maybe not at your banker parties, but the Worthington Steel saga is giving us plenty of drama. Kloekner finally scraped past the minimum acceptance threshold.
I honestly thought that deal was dead in the water. Building North America's second largest steel service center sounded great on a pitch deck, but getting those shares tendered was like pulling teeth.
They're not totally out of the woods yet. The additional acceptance period is still open until April 14. I'm watching those filings like a hawk.
You and your footnotes. But if you want to talk about old school non-tech mega deals actually dominating Q1, we have to look at the $20 billion elephant in the grocery aisle.
Oh, you mean the McCormick and Unilever mashup?
Exactly. We need to talk about how much money is actually in vanilla extract. Tomorrow's radar. Tomorrow, I'm glued to the antitrust wires for this McCormick and Unilever tie-up. $20 billion in combined revenue is going to set off alarms in DC.
Really? You think the FTC is going to block a spice and mayonnaise merger? It's a giant flavor factory, Nate, not a semiconductor monopoly.
Size is a monopoly to this regime, Maya. They see $20 billion and immediately assume we're hurtling toward a dystopian future where one corporation controls all the paprika.
I'll take that bet. I'm actually watching the steel sector tomorrow. Worthington finally crossed the minimum acceptance threshold for Kluckner.
Right, the dream of North America's second largest steel service center lives on.
Exactly. The additional acceptance window is open until April 14th. Honestly, with all the geopolitical anxiety right now, I'm genuinely shocked these cross-border heavy industry deals are still holding together.
Boardrooms don't care about anxiety right now. They only care about scale. We'll see who blinks first tomorrow.